Everybody, thanks for getting out into the snow and ice this morning. I know my driveway was clear, but there was some black ice on the way here. Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Kiowa, and Sugaree peoples. My name is Cosette Blackmer, and Vanessa could not be here today, so I am substituting as the worship assistant for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming community which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, either present here today or joining us online, we welcome you and hope to see you again. Your presence is truly a gift to us. We have a few announcements this morning. Reverend Amy will be out of the office from January 6th to February 14th for a partial February 13th for a partial knee replacement. If you have any pastoral cares or concerns during this time, please email joysandconcerns@puuc.org. For any other immediate concerns, please email bot@puuc.org. Our Ethical Explorations Group meets tomorrow evening at 6 via Zoom and is starting to read the 1619 project. You may join with the Zoom link listed in the newsletter or weekly announcements. At this time, I would like to invite Katrina forward to speak to us this month about our shared plate. Excuse me.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Rotrina Campbell. I am the organizing manager at Common Cause, North Carolina. Thank y'all so much, Sue and Linda, for allowing us the opportunity to be here today. Just wanted to give a little overview of Common Cause. You know, everything now is on the phone, so I have everything written down here. But just to give you an idea, Common Cause is a nonpartisan nonprofit organization, and we comprise of national, nonpartisan, and nonprofit democracy and values, very strong democracy as well as Common Cause largest chapter. So we do have other chapters. Like I said, we're nationwide, but we are the largest chapter, and we were founded in 1973. And we employ a unique blend of organizing and advocacy communications and campaigns to educate, engage, and mobilize tens of thousands of active members, statewide supporters, student fellows, as well as partners in support of multiracial democracy, as well, that works for all North Carolinians. We have our HBCU, which is our Historically Black College and University Student Action Alliance. It's a lot of words, which is leading the charge to protect over 40,000 student voters at our state's 10 historically black colleges and universities. So also want to give a little bit about what we do with the support of foundations and individuals like you over the past 3 years, which is how long I have also been with Common Cause. Common Cause North Carolina has doubled our staff and coalition partners, and we broaden our reach to new voters and volunteers and become a trusted pro-democracy convener. In 2025, our HBCU program celebrated our 20-year legacy of campus leadership, organizing, and activism that has made us a model for also predominantly white institutions seeking innovations in civic engagement and cross-campus collaboration. We definitely work in collaboration with all youth organizations. as well as giving a little bit more overview. We're positioned to employ best practices for our recent work to turn challenges in any voting access, fair elections, and representative districts into the opportunities to engage North Carolinians. Over the next 3 years, this means we'll be leveraging our legacy of leadership in our 4 key areas of legislative mitigation and litigation, policy advocacy, including redistricting reform, elections monitoring advocacy, and a lot of our campus and youth organizing as well. Some of the things that we did, I won't go through all of them, that we did last year that we're particularly proud of is our judicial education work, which utilized in-person and online events and canvassing and phone and text banking. So we did plenty of that last year. And social media to increase turnout in our down ballot races and community understandings of judge and justice's impact on our daily lives, because down ballot races are also so important. We also did our 100 county voter education tour. We went all the way across, myself and Saylor, who works with me, who are as associate director, went across the state working with our county boards of elections to help thousands of voters in turn help their communities understand changes to our voting, elections, and our districts. We also did our 2024 elections engagement grants, which we funded the voter education and engagement and protection work for over 40 North Carolina state, local, and campus organizations, expanding our in-person reach to 81 of 100 North Carolina counties. So what we're working on this year in 2025, our work will therefore pivot from priorities of a presidential cycle to facing its outcomes, including mitigating any anti-voter actions that come from the new executive branch, state, Supreme Court, or legislature, including advocacy and educational priorities during the 2025 long legislative session and our redistricting litigation. Also, advocacy and education priorities happening on the state Supreme Court level as well. We definitely would love you to have us definitely get involved with the work we're doing. I can maybe provide the information of how you can volunteer and join us as well. In this last piece, I mentioned the state Supreme Court that has us definitely working hard right now amid ongoing candidate challenges to the outcome of our 2024 state Supreme Court race. Common Cause is committed to defending the voices of North Carolina voters. In case you haven't heard, as of mid-January, the Republican-controlled North Carolina Supreme Court threw the election of one of its members into disarray on January 7th by temporarily blocking the certification of incumbent Allison Riggs, Democratic incumbent Allison Riggs' victory. And it also gives the court time to consider a challenge by her Republican opponent, State Appeals Court Judge Jefferson Griffin. So I don't know if any of you have heard what's going on with that. Riggs did win the re-election by 734 votes of 5.5 million cast, a margin of victory that was confirmed by 2 recounts. There has already been 2 recounts. But Griffin has sought for his claims to be decided by the Supreme Court. In the process, Griffin is asking the Supreme Court to throw out roughly 60,000 ballots, an unprecedented request based on a theory that has been dismissed by both the state election board and the federal judge, because there has already been 2 recounts. So that is, while the state election board is now requesting a federal appeals court to return the case to federal court, barring action on the federal level, it is likely the state Supreme Court will decide the race among scenarios. So we have that going on, so it's definitely unclear how a ruling in favor of Griffin will impact the 60,000 voters that has been targeted currently. Some experts suggest that voters may be removed from the rolls and forced to re-register before taking part in future elections. So we're definitely in the middle of that right now. We have provided billboards and digital advertising around what's going on. We have earned media, including op-ed medias. We're working on virtual and in-person town halls, which we'll be having coming up soon. And we're also driving North Carolina voices inside the North Carolina Supreme Court. We definitely have ways to take action and to even see if you are a voter that is on that 60,000 list. We did have someone the other day who was like, oh, I'm gonna look for my family and friends, and they found out that their vote was one of those votes that were being challenged. So I have information where you can find out if you're on that list. If you're part of that 60,000, our own Sailor Jones, who our associate director, is on that list as well. And I can provide that information too, if anyone in here wants to see if they're on that list and their vote is being challenged and part of that 60,000. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that insightful share. For any other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you are on our email list, please check the weekly announcements and monthly newsletter. Whatever brought you to this place at this moment, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
I do want to offer a special thanks to Cosette, who just this morning filled in. Vanessa lives in Salisbury. There's still a lot of very shaded, icy areas, so she wasn't able to make it in, and really appreciate Cosette stepping in here at the last minute, so thank you. So hear now these words from Sandra Fees. For the stories that long to be told and retold, for the stories that long to be imagined and reimagined, for the stories that long to be envisioned and celebrated, we light this chalice. May its flame bring the light of different truths, different paths, and different voices, all needed to cultivate a transformative story of justice, love, and beauty. I invite you now to please join me in singing the words to Lighting Our Chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you to please rise and body your spirit for our call to worship. Welcome to a new story. Welcome to a day unwritten. We gather to speak of possibility.
We remember the losses and we celebrate the victories. We embrace the possible over the improbable. We make the story of hope.
Join us in the new story. Join us in the day unwritten. Join us in the future of possibility. Our first hymn is found in your gray hymnal, number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. You may be seated, and I'm inviting our little ones to come forward for a time for all ages.
Good morning. It's good to see you. Did you enjoy the snowy weather we've been having? Yeah, did you play out in the snow? Yeah? A lot? You did too? Yeah, so you were only out there for a little bit. Ooh, you tasted the snow. How'd it taste? Raspberry. Okay. Just water. Frozen raspberry. And soggy strawberries. I would rather my snow taste like raspberry and strawberries than water. I think if we had flavored snow, that'd be super yummy and super cool. So this month we've been talking, our theme for the month is story. And today I want to talk to you about how our stories connect all of us. So I brought this ball of yarn, which is one of my favorite balls of yarn because I really love all of the colors that are in it. I'm going to hold it up so then the adults can see it too. It's really pretty. It just has a lot of really pretty colors in it. So I brought this ball of yarn, and we are going to make a friendship web. So if I can have you scoot a little bit closer, it's going to help our friendship web a little bit better. But here's how it goes. I'm going to start. I'm holding on to this end of the yarn because I don't want it to roll away. And I'm going to say something about myself. And if it is also true for you, and we're going to have Miss Sue and Miss Diane play with us so then our web can be as big as it can be. If it is also true for you, you're going to raise your hand, and we will pass the ball to you. And then you hold on to the string and pass it on to the next person. And they hold on to the string and they pass it on to the next person. As long as they have their hands raised, as long as it is also true for them. And we keep going around. The person who ends with the ball is going to say something about them. What's your question? I really like Jack Skellington too. How often do you watch that movie? Do you watch it a lot? Yeah? So we'll start with me saying, I like the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's the movie with Jack Skellington in it. So raise your hand if you also like Jack Skellington. All right, Harley, take this ball. Okay. Now what you're going to do, you're going to hold on to a little bit of the string. Hold on to the string. We're going to pass this ball to Miss Diane. So now all three of us are holding on to the ball. Now, Miss Diane, you get to say something about yourself.
I like to read books.
Okay, if we also like to read books, raise your hand. All right, so we got two people, so we're going to pass it on to Miss Sue. She's going to hold part of the yarn, and she's going to pass the ball to Amanda. Look at how big our web is getting. All right, Amanda, say something about yourself.
I like being in the pool.
All right, you like being in the pool. Do you like being in the pool? No? Does anyone else like being in the pool?
Me.
You like being in the pool?
We have a big pool that we already have. All of us can fit in it.
Oh, that is a big pool. All right, Amanda, can you pass the ball to Harley? Harley, what's something else that you like?
I like going to a pool and having fun with my family.
Having fun with your family. If you also like having fun with your family, raise your hand. Anyone else? Do you like having fun with your family? Yes? Okay, so Harley, here's what we're going to do. You're going to hold on to part of that yarn. Hold on. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for helping out. And we're going to pass that all the way to Lizzie. And look at that. Now we are all connected in just a few statements. Just a few little things. Small things. Things that we like to do, places we like to go, things we like to watch. Connect this small group. Now I want you to imagine, if we played this game with every single person in the room, how many times would the yarn go back and forth and all around? How big would our web be?
Like almost as big as this room.
Yeah, it would be the size of this room. I bet it could wrap around this room 2 or 3 times, and we would still have things that we share about ourselves and about things that we have in common. So it's really important to think about how we, as human beings, are all connected with each other through small things every day. And sometimes we're connected from very big things, like being a part of the same experience. We are all here together on this Sunday at Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. That's a pretty big thing. And we're also connected through small things, yeah? So we are going to continue thinking about this throughout the week. And I want you to think about the other small ways you are connected to other people in your life. All right? Think you could do that for me? I know you can. You like ice cream? I like ice cream too. I'm going to take the ball from you. Miss Cosette likes ice cream. All right, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this ball up and you are going to head back out. Thank you so much.
At this time, we are entering to our time with ritual and sacred sharing, where we share joys and sorrows and concerns and milestones. So for the candles we light this week, we light first a candle for all of our shared stories, the stories of our community. For everyone impacted by Hurricane Helene and ongoing recovery efforts. For all who are impacted by the devastating fires in California. For the immediate relief of the people of Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. And for our country, that we may continue to work towards love and compassion and justice for all people, and that we might always keep hope before us. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you would like to do so. You may come forward along the far wall. We have our prayer stand, and you may fill out a prayer card to place on the prayer stand. You may light your own candle of joy or concern. You may simply place a stone in our shared water together. We now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. I invite us now to a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. I will sound the singing bowl, and then we will have a period of silence. And during this time, I invite you to breathe more deeply and to breathe peace in, and as you exhale, to share peace with the world around you.
Hear now these words from Richard Wagamese. In the dark depths of long winter nights, spirits slumber too, and allow their stories to be told. These are the storytelling moons. Elders and storytellers who have been given tales to carry speak softly, reverentially, and the people hear them. The people don't merely listen, they hear. To hear is to have a spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical reaction to the words. Sometimes, at very special times, you have all four reactions and are changed forever. Share stories. Fill cold nights with the warmth of your connections, your relationships. Hear each other and be made more. That is the power of storytelling.
Now, one thing I have enjoyed in recent years is sharing stories with my son's used to be fiance, now wife, Sarah. Now, during all the years I was rearing a very strong-willed little boy and young adolescent male, I kept a running list in my head of things I would tell his future wife and children when they come along. And I'm certain some of y'all have done the same thing, right? Boy, I can't wait to say this. You know, telling Caleb stories is something that I enjoy immensely, and not just with Sarah, but with her parents and her family too. So, when we think about family stories, we know that so many families have this shared communal experience, telling stories about events and happenings over all the many years. Now, one thing that has struck me over the years is if you put up a Christmas tree, family ornaments are often part of this essential family story. Telling stories about, oh, this is who made this ornament, or well, this is when this was purchased. Or perhaps there might be dog bite marks on there, right? You know, there's all different kinds of stories that those family ornaments can tell us and remind us about that unit there together, that communal unit. Now, there's a subscription service named Storyworth, which has become quite popular in recent years. And it's often purchased for grandparents or great-grandparents, and they are given prompts every week for a year to write down some kind of story about their life. And it might be about their own childhood or their families of origin. And at the end of the year, all these stories are collected and preserved in a book for future generations to read. So those family stories are not forgotten. Thought I was going to sneeze. Y'all excuse me. Okay, maybe I'm not going to sneeze. Okay, so family stories. There are so many things that might be forgotten along the way just because we haven't shared them. Things which can inspire and encourage others. My mom recently told me a story about herself as a young adult, which I'd never heard. And it really did inspire me. And I shared that with my children pretty soon after, via text, because, that's what we do, right? That's what communal stories do. They inspire us. They encourage us. They help provide meaning and insight. Now, a family, whether that family is legal or chosen family, that's one type of community. But there are a number of communities that we're a part of, aren't there? As we are here at this time, whether we're here physically present or virtually present, we are present with our church community, our church family. And we have a lot of communal stories to share. Times about when we've been together over all these many years. Sometimes it's humorous stories, meaningful ones, challenging times. Now, I've been fortunate to hear so many of those stories the past couple years, and then to participate in the new stories we are creating in the here and now on this very day. Think about other kind of communities that we are part of, communities that have shared stories. As our guest from Common Cause was talking, I thought about those of us who've lived in North Carolina perhaps all of our lives or a long time. We've got a lot of shared North Carolina stories. It's things that help bind us together, help us remember who we are, who we want to be. We might have a shared community with a school or alma mater. Yesterday, as I was watching the Duke men's game, some of my friends who are in grad school at Duke with me, and we've kept up with these sports teams so long, we're texting each other and, shared communal stories. And then over the Christmas break, I was so fortunate to, as I was visiting my daughter-in-law's family, and her home place is close to Lake Placid. And I knew that Sarah grew up playing ice hockey, and that's a big thing up there. And she said, well, we're all going to go to Lake Placid because I know you've never seen it. We want to see it. And, to get ready for that, and all the rest of us who were there, we're going to watch Miracle again tonight. Now, some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, I know, but some will remember. It was a movie that came out about 20 years ago about the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team. And for those of us who weren't around, I was probably somewhere in middle school at that point, and we had 3 TV channels, I know, very olden days. And there weren't as many Olympic sports back then as there are today, too. We were all watching the Olympics, and I didn't know anything about ice hockey. It's probably the only time I'd ever watched it in my life to that point. And the U.S., a very young U.S. men's team beat the super dominant professional Russian team. And that happened in Lake Placid. And the announcers were saying it was a miracle on ice. And Lake Placid is still very much, as I was driving around and walking around there that day, the memory of that communal story is still very much in the forefront, even for people like my daughter-in-law who was born well after that happened. The power of communal stories is unlike anything that we can imagine. So why do we need communal stories? How does it impact our faith journey? Christopher Mayer shared some thoughts about this topic on the National Storytelling Network website. And he writes, community is only built through shared stories. Community is only built through shared stories. Storytelling is the heart of community. Now, when we think about heart, the physical organ, of course, is essential for pumping blood and keeping us alive. And the spiritual idea of the heart, it's the center of love. And we know that love is at the center of who we are, individually and as a UU community. Now, in the coming days, I encourage you to think about what communities you are a part of. How have the stories of these communities helped shape and form you? How have they inspired, supported, encouraged you? And as you think about this in the coming days, I hope you will find some way to help share these stories, maybe to retell them with a member of that community so you can remember that story. Or perhaps to share them with someone who doesn't know that story and let them be included in what that story means. The best stories always connect us, and they fill our spirits. Now, I'd like to close this with words from Elie Wiesel as he wrote in the book, From Prologue to the Gates of the Forest. When the great Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov saw misfortune threatening the Jews, it was the custom of this great rabbi to go into a certain part of the forest to meditate. And there he would light a fire, he would say a special prayer, and the miracle would be accomplished and the misfortune averted. Now later, many years later on, a disciple of his had occasion, for the same reason, to intercede with heaven. And so he went to the same place in the forest and he said, "Master of the universe, listen. I do not know how to light the fire as my master did, but I am still able to say the prayer." And again, the miracle was accomplished. Now, years after that, Rabbi Moshe Leib of Sassoff, in order to save his people once more, went into the forest and he said, "I do not know how to light the fire. I do not know the prayer. But I do know this place, and this must be sufficient." It was sufficient, and the miracle was accomplished. And then still years later, it fell to Rabbi Israel of Rishon to overcome misfortune. Sitting in his armchair in his home, his head in his hands, he spoke to God. "I am unable to light the fire. I do not know the prayer, and I cannot even find the place in the forest. All I can do is tell the story, and this must be sufficient." And it was. Our shared stories, the stories from our heart, they are sufficient. We are in challenging times. We don't know what the year before us holds. But sharing our stories of community will be sufficient. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you, Anne. That was lovely. And now let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for now we are the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with Common Cause. Common Cause North Carolina is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They work to create open, honest, and accountable government that serves the public interest, promotes equal rights, opportunity, and representation for all, and empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. We ask that you place your gifts in the baskets as they make their way around the room, and you are always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for all your generous gifts, which enable us to continue to tell the story of love, justice, and hope. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, found in our gray hymnal, number 28, For All That Is Our Life.
128.
Oh, sorry, thank you, 128. So skipped over that one. Thank you. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who've helped make our service possible this morning. And I want to give a special thanks to Jim, who was working on the ice melt out here at the entrance. He very graciously took that on when we started emailing the other day. So I also ask that before you leave, if you can place your hymnals back on the cart near the piano, that's always a big help. Now let us take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words, for the things for which we are grateful today.
I'm grateful for this day because this Sunday service always makes me glad.
For this day that we can be here at the Sunday service. Thank you.
For the life of Billy Carter.
For the life of Jimmy Carter. Yeah. Mhm.
For the treat that we had when my husband and I, we actually went to his home and went into the schoolhouse where he learned, and we sat in the desk where he might have been sitting. It's really a wonderful experience to see who he was, such a person of the earth.
Mhm. Yeah. A tree that Gail and Joe had years ago. So thank you.
Snow.
For snow, yeah. Not for ice, but for snow, yes. Well, we give thanks for all these things and for so much more for which we are grateful today. The stories of our communities, these stories are changing the world. Let us go forth filled with our stories, creating new stories and sharing love with all around us. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we may wander. May it be so. Now for our closing song, we form a circle. You may hold hands if you would like, or you may simply place your hands on your heart.